My Jing video by John Haggerty. I wanted to first focus on resilience in students. This topic is so important for a student to succeed, and if a student doesn't have it, it can be taught. This quote is straight from the book by John Vito called Relationship-Driven Classroom Management. Children who are able to succeed despite living with much stress and adversity, and identified factors that were present in these children. These factors form the basis of resilience, and some of these factors are social skills, problem solving, self-efficacy, optimism, and self-control. How do we as teachers promote resilience? Here are three major areas. Caring relationships. The importance of caring relationships and resilience is the basis of the entire relationship-driven approach to classroom management. Second, high expectations. Recognize each student's strengths and interests and use these as a starting point when you first start your class. Students who experience high expectations develop the belief that they are capable and competent. And third, opportunities to participate. This strategy can create a connection or bond between the student and the school. Some hindrances to building resilience. Classroom management strategies that are inconsistent, that are harsh, coercive, reactive, or lack empathy and understanding. These seem so basic, but to be an effective teacher, you have to guard against these types of behaviors, especially if you are having a bad day. A teacher can destroy a relationship that has been building over the weeks and months of the class with one day of bad behavior. I'm going to move on from resilience to preventing violence, but they are so interconnected. I'm also going to borrow from Vito and his book to explain these bullet points. Emphasize positive relationships among students and staff. Research shows that a positive relationship with an adult who is available to provide support when needed is one of the most critical factors in preventing student violence. Second, treat students with equal respect. A major source of conflict is perceived or real bias based on race, social class, physical appearance, and sexual orientation, either by the staff or peers. Effective schools communicate in words and actions that all children are valued and respected. They establish a climate that demonstrates care and a sense of community. How do we help students feel safe in expressing feelings, manage anger, and resolve conflicts? Schools that allow time for relationship building send a strong, caring, and supporting message to the students. When students are encouraged to express feelings and concerns, they feel cared for and important. The opposite of this occurs when we discourage or punish emotional expression. Safe schools teach and model positive strategies to deal with emotions and conflicts. Conflicts are seen as opportunities for growth, not punishment. Teachers can model effective ways to manage emotions in the classroom. And lastly, create ways for students to share their concerns. Safe schools discuss safety issues openly and often. It has been well documented that peers are the most likely group to know in advance about potential school violence. Lastly, I would like to talk about Jeff Duncan Andrande's lecture, Roads That Grew Up from Concrete. And the major points that I picked up were: 1. Students expect to learn every day, and teachers have to be ready to do this. 2. You have to have a message of hope. Question the challenge. How do we recognize the will and resiliency that the students have even though they grew up in concrete? What is concrete? It's violence and racism. It's institutional violence and it's poverty. Another point, schools have to be better than society, not a mirror or even worse. And lastly, I like to talk about Maya Angelou at the end. And now she was talking about the stories of the two boys fighting. And she just went up to him and said, "You are important. Do you know how important you are?" And that really hit me hard because that kid probably never heard that at all in his life. And it really made a difference. I guess you have to be relentless against resistance from students. Even though they may resist you, be relentless and try to build that relationship. And finally, humanity is based upon relationships with other people. And that is my Jing video.